this diplomatic breakthrough make you hopeful about what's next?
Nora, it does. It's a really significant first step. And
Hey guys, it's Felix over here. You know what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe so that we can continue to push democracy, freedom, and truth out there. We had an incredible outcome as President Trump's peace deal came out, and 20 of the last hostages of Israel were released from Hamas. Hamas is set to actually get back thousands of people that are in the Palestinian area that were taken in as captives and war criminals on Israel's side who are taken in. They have by far much more people than the people that Israel had lost during the October 7th massacre. I personally am very much in between, like many people, about what Palestinians should get and Israelis should get. It's a very, very confusing and long, drawn out history. But to put it in very simple terms, okay, I'm no historical expert, but I put it into ChatGPT and came up with this analogy for you to understand. First of all, Palestinians are those who are currently not in a controlled state of their own. They're like an idealized state by the Gaza and Hamas individuals. Hamas is the more dictatorial, extremist, terrorist groups, the government that's actually taken care of Gaza since 2007. And then you have Israel, of course, who takes care of the West Bank, who's governing the West Bank, as well as the nation state of Israel. Now, Palestinians and people who espouse to be Palestinians believe that Israelis have taken too much of the space that have been there since the 70s and 80s. They've taken so much of the power and the space, the real estate over there in Gaza and the West Bank. So that conflict has been akin to what I like to say a split between Palestinians and Israel. So, lo and behold, Izzy and Pal, they had a shared home at a certain point in history. Now, the Izzy people left, and their side of the family left because, you know what, they had a bad breakup. And most of the people that moved in with Pal are the Hamas individuals and so forth. So when Izzy said, hey, I want to move back in, I paid my fair share, I have a history here, they said, okay, fine. The rest of the world, everybody else, you know, cousins, aunts, and uncles were like, hey, Izzy deserves to be in this house. Same as you, pal. Okay, so move aside, clear up some of your rooms, get your junk in the garage or whatever, and just come in and live together peacefully. So since there is a birthright of sorts that keeps being thrown around by the Izzy people, Izzy and her family moves back into this place, the West Bank and parts of Gaza, right? Israel is formed as a nation in the 20th century after the World War II specifically. And so we have this really, really tight space that just doesn't feel like it's enough for them. So Izzy and Pal have been fighting. They are honestly very much similar in terms of their background, even though Arabs, those of Hamas and Palestinians are Arab Muslim most of the time. You have a lot of people who are Jewish, you know, in the Israeli camp, but they share a lot of cultural values as well as their faith, right? Both being Abrahamic faiths. Now, the only issue is they have fought wars, they have fought over land, and they have killed one another because they believe that this room's mine and that room's mine. So they've been stealing from one another, entrapping one another, slandering one another. Have you ever been in a bad breakup, or do you know that friend that has been in a bad breakup? Because that's exactly what kind of this is, but on a much, much larger scale on steroids. So if we are going to make sense of who gets which room or who gets to share, because they both seem to have a legitimate case for living in this home, they both want to call this their place. They bought this place together. They've been the longest residents in this place. And well, they're the only one people groups that are really fighting over this place. But now the authorities from all over the world, especially the United States, are stepping in to make sure that, hey, you guys are causing a lot of ruckus, causing a lot of infighting, and people, neighbors around you are upset, and you guys need to settle down, okay, and make some peace over this. So United States kind of being like the authorities, the cops here, being the world police historically, came in and wanted to be able to make sure that this time we're going to actually have an actual peace deal. So Trump has been working with the Abrahamic Accord since his first presidency. And now after Biden, he actually pushed through a peace deal between the issue and conflict between Hamas and Israel. And a lot of liberals are just unhinged because they can't believe that Trump is the one that's actually pushing forward peace. Democracy, as you know, and constitutional issues aside, Trump has been maligned as somebody who's anti-freedom of speech, and he's a dictator of sorts, a fascist. But you gotta give it to him. Hillary Clinton recently, watch this, says that he is actually doing the right thing. The Trump administration, she commends because he's actually promoting peace. Take a look.
Thousands of people are making the long walk home in Gaza with a ceasefire in effect. Does this diplomatic breakthrough make you hopeful about what's next?
Nora, it does. It's a really significant first step, and I really commend President Trump and his administration, as well as Arab leaders in the region.
Now, not everybody, liberals or Democrats, are going to agree that Trump is doing all the right things. There's a lot of criticism right now also about how far can this peace deal go forward. They have these really ambitious golden era ideas about what this Middle Eastern conflict could look like. One, they need to be able to split up the Palestinian state, or, that being the West Bank and Gaza. And if they're going to release all these people from Israel, those who are captive on Israel's side from Hamas, well, what are they going to go back to? They're going to go back to a war-torn rubble that is, and currently still is, Gaza. If they're going to get back some of their share of land, then they need to be able to understand what part of the land is fair, because you've destroyed the place. So Izzy is kind of being blamed for wreaking havoc of sorts because they have a lot of power. They built up a lot of structures, put up security cameras in the home, and brought in people that originally weren't there. So now Al is saying, well, you know what? My buddy Hamas wants to live here too. And he's saying, we need to kick you out. And now the cops are saying, hey, Izzy has a place here. You need to be able to let go of some of the feuding and just live peacefully. So I believe that there's some reasonableness. I'm not going to say Trump is right on every single part of this case, but he is pushing forward peace. And as an outsider, many of us are outsiders promoting peace, whether it's for the Palestinians or for Israel. There are many friends of mine who are pro-Palestinian, who are Christian, those who are pro-Israel, who are Christian, many Christian Zionists out there. And as a Christian myself, I don't care so much as necessarily basic biblical idea of Israel being a state, because I think that peace is a central idea as well within Scripture. So a lot of all this political talk is based on what is our central ethos, our spiritual truth. Because regardless of what you say, oh, our people have been here for so many millennia or years, we move. Everybody gets colonized, thrown out. There's regimes that change because a lack of power, there's corruption. On a deeper level, religiously, if there is a holy land birthright that both sides are kind of saying, hey, I have the deeds to this place because God said so, well, then that's going to be cause for violence and disruption, protesting. And a lot of the world, and especially those who are Christian, are really fed up with the infighting because, one, we are a people of peace. Christians ought to be peace givers, peacemakers. And right now we are actually seeing it from none other than Trump himself. It's surprising. I'm really shocked by it. And I think there are a lot of people who are actually stepping up saying, hey, even as Democrats who may not like Trump, they are actually stepping up and saying, hey, Trump did the right thing.
Former President Joe Biden, who was in office October 7th, 2023, said this tonight. I commend President Trump and his team for their work to get a renewed ceasefire deal over the finish line.
It seems like he's doing something that's actually benefiting people and saving lives. Because if this infighting continue to happen between Izzy and Pal here, more people, more family members are going to get hurt and kicked out, killed. It's essentially killed. If we want peace, if that's the biggest order on our plate here, then it cannot be that we are saying, hey, Trump did this and that's why the peace is not going to happen because I don't like Trump. No, if peace is happening, I don't care if it's Hillary Clinton, if it's Biden, if it's Bernie Sanders or a dictator, so I don't care if it's like Putin himself, putting together this peace order. Peace is essential. And the people who are going to be stepping in, of course, there's going to be backlash because Trump is saying, well, now we need a technocratic government right now, people who are actually going to be more or less neutral and understand the situation pretty well. Hopefully, people from all sides of the coin and looking into the situation, they will benefit Israel as well as Palestinians long term, because it's a very, very volatile state. And that's why the Middle East has been in conflict for so many decades and hundreds of years, if not in biblical proportion, thousands of years, wars, holy wars, right? From Europe and the Middle East and all parts of Mesopotamia as well. So I am hopeful. I am glad. And this is a cause for rejoicing too, because as it says in scripture, as a Christian myself, I believe that we are called to be peacemakers, for the sons of God are peacemakers. So it doesn't matter how much Israel is right, or it doesn't matter how much Hamas is right, even though they have very much terrorist tendencies. And Israel also is very violent. It's not a matter of being right or wrong, or who's more violent or less violent, how many lives are being killed, or for what cause. At the end of the day, we have to understand that peace has a cost to it. And we know that it's more costly to not ascertain a deal for peace, even if it means at the cost of giving up more land, even if it means giving up more of your strategic war power, like Israel. Izzy is very powerful. She's got all the guns and all the ammunition. But Pal over here has a lot of sympathy of the world as well, because a lot of these victims, people who are in these war-torn states over in Gaza, are just perpetually, in poverty, not being supported, starving to death because of this conflict. And hopefully in the long run, there's going to actually be flourishing among the people there. Education, relief efforts. Israel is also going to be providing some of that, as news sources states. So I'm really excited to be able to see this. I think that Democrats should be pushing in a lot more support, even towards Trump and this current administration, because this is the right thing. Trump has also pushed Benjamin Netanyahu on this as well. He has been very aggressive, but Trump has said there's no call for pushing more missiles and bombing more of Gaza for the sake of your righteous indignation or otherwise. And so I think it's very smart and couth of Trump to do this. I mean, he is belligerent at times and he is a fighter. What you know about Trump is true. He is unpredictable. He is hated by many, but he sure can do a peace deal like no other. And so I'm just very impressed. And that's partly why I voted for Trump, not because I like the guy and his personality so much. I think that's an understatement for most people, but because he gets things done, as a business person and as a politician, and he's actually promoting peace. He can get things done. Business is done here. I really hope that you guys make sense of this too and share this news. This is really good news. Share in the comment section what you think. Make sure that you push this video forward so that we can continue to make videos like this. Like, subscribe. Thank you guys, and God bless.